right. Well, this is Ron at, I was going to say Garage Aquatics 2023, but I managed to change the name on YouTube the other day. Now it's just Ron's Garage Aquatics. I like that better. I never did like the 2023 bit, but when I set this up, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you what happened here. And some of you saw the short where this thing started leaking down low. And I'll show you what I did to alleviate, eliminate, change, rectify the situation, where I ended up taking this thing apart. I had several suggestions in the short. Just go buy a new one. It's a 29-gallon Aquarium. They used to be about, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 55, 60 bucks, and then they do half off of that. And I think this is secondhand from OfferUp. The two around the back were brand new from Petco. They are now $100 with a 50% off. They're 50 bucks. So I thought, I've got the silicone. It was still good. I cleaned it up. I resealed it. I'll show you how all I did that. Or I'll show you how I did all of that and how everything went back together. These guys are back home. So stick around. Hope you get something out of it. If you do, hit that subscribe button if you would, please. If you get a good laugh out of it, hit that subscribe button twice. Anyway, stay tuned. Well, I'll let you see what I saw. Kathy and I were just on our way into the garage to get to the car to go to the thrift store. Now, what's this puddle under the fish tank? And look at it drip. So it's coming from along here on my 29-gallon with the bettas. This is my betta tank. I really like this tank too. I really like the way it's all planted up. And it's really a cool tank. And I've got the little fry tray in here with all the koi kahaku swordtail fry. There's a couple plecosauruses in here, and there's a couple of mono shrimp in here, and there's a couple of bronze cories in here, and it's leaking. This was a used tank on OfferUp. I've had it about 2 years now, and I don't know what happened. We'll figure it out. I don't know if the silicone started leaking down low or if the bottom split maybe. We shall see. But I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I think this tank I wanted to put my panda cories in. Now it looks like I'm going to have to use this tank for a holding tank for now. And if this tank's failed, then maybe what I'll do is put everything in it and get another 29. And if I can't fix it, and put it here and put everybody back in here. But God, all these crypt, oh God, what, Eusteriana. And I just put a Balinese crypt Balinese in down there. And there's some Amazons, and there's crypt, oh God, I forgot what this one's called. Pontederiana, I think. And a little tiger lotus back there. And all these knuckleheads. I don't know. I just put this in here. Kathy thinks it cursed it. We shall see. I'm going to put you guys, do I want to put you guys on a tripod? So really, this is my first leaker out of 2 dozen tanks. I had a 29 on this end that was leaking. This is a new one. See water coming down here, but what it is I had it too full. Water just comes under these rims. They don't seal them all the way, these Aquarium tanks. I figured that out early on. But we got to figure out, we got to make this happen. So I got to get to it here. So I'm just using my drain rig and shove a piece of vinyl tubing up in it. Nobody can get sucked up through that screen in a 5-gallon bucket. And I'm just going to drain this down as much as possible. Use the same water in that 20 long over there, yonder. I got to disconnect the fry tray here. And I'm going to hook that up. I'll set that across the top of that because I want to keep the fry going. I'm just going to keep filling buckets here, 4 or 5 buckets, and I'll have all the water. Then I just scrape the fish off the bottom of this thing. I think I'll throw the cories into the tank with their mates over there in the 75. And then we'll sort it out from there. Well, it's drained down to the substrate. Here's what came out of it. 25 bettas. 10 mono shrimp, that blew me away. 2 plecosauruses and 2 little bronze cories. And everybody is now in this 20 long. And a bunch of plants. And I forgot about this one here, this bulbitis. And that's really cool. It's doing really well. That came out of a tube from, probably either PetSmart or Petco. I don't remember what Petco's brand is. PetSmart's Top Fin. But nice, really doing well. And I hate to disturb it, but when a tank starts dropping water all over the floor, you don't have a hell of a lot of choice, do you? And while we're here and while it's all exposed, you can see what substrate's made of. It's small volcanic lava, cracked lava from Home Depot. Comes in a bag. These in landscapes, or I guess you can put it at the bottom of your barbecue, whatever, too. And just some other little, oh, wow, that is a bulb. I don't know if it's any good anymore. That is a lily bulb. Huh, glad I spotted that. We're going to throw that in the tank with all the other plants, and maybe, splash, it will recover. Pulled a lot of plants out here. I probably buried a few small ones, maybe like Sagittarius subulata or something like that. So now I got to get all this stuff out of here into the bucket, get the tank out of here, see what I can see. I think I got everybody out. I hope I got everybody out. The last holdout was one of those little bronze cories. They are fast. All right, I'm going to use this handy dandy ice. Well, it's either an ice scraper or, a cheap ass Home Depot drywall mud spreader. So I'm going to use that to scoop this stuff out of here because it's sharp. The lava's really sharp. And I got to get it over the top and drop it in. So here we go. Here, just scoop it in, pull it up and over. Try not to drop too much everywhere else. And then in the bucket. All right, well, it's empty. The front, obvious, the thermometer in the front. So I'm going to start with the front. I'm going to take it outside, clean it up, see what we can see. But one thing I noticed too, the way this was dripping, it was dripping here, it was running under down this, and it was kind of running back. So a lot of the water ended up in that guppy tank down there. I don't know if that's any savings grace. Eventually that would have overflowed. But regardless, and I think a lot of it ended up in this the yellow golden back Neocaridina tank also. Regardless. Did I say that twice? Wow. So that means irregardless twice. Jeez. Yeah, anyway. So I think I can get this out onto the front lawn now. Hose it out, scrub it down, and see what the hell's going on. All right, well, I cleaned it all out. There was algae, so I hit it with, I started to scrape it, and it was really hard algae. So it was green stuff, but it was really, really hard. It's not the stuff that comes right off with a sponge. So I hit it with that Clorox household cleaner, the bleach spray. It's a dilute solution. And then I rinsed it out really well, and it'll be rinsed again before this is all done. And I don't see anything obvious. And remember, that's the front of the tank there because there's a thermometer on the outside. But down here, I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe there. There's some kind of discoloration, what looks like underneath the silicone. I don't know if it was the water was running all the way around and it seemed like it was welling up in the front here. I don't know. I think what I'm going to end up doing is scraping all the silicone out of the bottom. The sides look okay. And then I'll re-silicone the bottom and see if that makes the difference. You can see that tag, the assembled by, it's Jeff, whoever, it's not Pelham, I don't think. I don't think he worked for Equion. Gotcha, Jeff. So, I mean, that was really soppy wet. And I don't think it was just from me rinsing the tank out because most of the water was on the inside, not the outside. So it was coming around, but I don't know from where. So maybe when I start scraping the silicone out, I'll be able to tell. So I got to get this up on a sawhorses or something where I've got it at a decent height to work. This is exactly what I wanted to do when it's 103 degrees outside. Who knew? Now I do. Well, I am not above a DIY project. So I thought I'd give this a shot, maybe try and reseal it. It looks like it's just the bottom, so I thought I'd come up the sides maybe an inch or so and clean out all the bottom silicone and redo it. Several people suggested, why don't you just go buy a new tank? Petco's got them on half off right now. So it's a $50 tank, half off. They're regular $100. And if this still works, this has been sitting around for a while. Expired, what is that? June 23. So it's a couple years old. This is a freshly opened, so we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to order that again. That stuff's actually intended for aquarium use. I saw this originally on a YouTube video. Some guy in Turkey makes these amazing custom tanks. So I thought I tried that for another tank. I used it to reseal an old secondhand tank. And that's what I'm going to do with this one, see if it works. I hate to just toss a tank that looks like this. I mean, yeah, it's got its issues. It was obviously, somebody's reptile tank once because they had heat lamps, and you could see that the damage from the heat lamps here. It's all warped and twisted. But it kept fish really well up until yesterday. So we'll see. We'll do this. I'm going to scrape that lower silicone out down along the bottom, and then, like I said, up the corners, maybe just about an inch or so, because that all looks good. If I can do this one-handed, this is worth showing you how I did it. So I've already taken out the one edge down here. So what I did, single edge razor blade, and I've already gone underneath here, but just hold the blade relatively flat and push it all the way to the edge and just come straight on through like that. When you get to the other, about halfway, just turn it around so you can get your hand in there and get the blade in there. All right. Now, blade down. See if we can do it down here. Oh, and also I made a cut. Here, we'll show it on this side. About an inch up. I just cut through. I put the blade against the end glass and just turned it right in and made a cut here. So that way the silicone will just come out of there too. And so also I already did this end, and there's water under the silicone. Seems to be anyway. And then same thing, push down along the edge. All right, we'll go over here. And it should just come right out. About like that. So that's all there is to removing the old stuff. And then I'll clean up it. You can, I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of loose or rough stuff right there. And I can just run the razor blade along there, clean that up, just peel that stuff out. Then in the corners, push that, do the same thing, just cut down and away. And I'll pull the old corner. Pull the old corners out. And it's, it's sharp, so you want to watch yourself. And I'm using a new blade. I had an old rusty one laying out and about, so grab a new single edge blade. And then cut that. And so you're going to have to work at the corners a little bit because they're going to be a little more difficult. But it can be done. So just take your time. Be safe. If you need to, wear a glove or something. Don't lose any blood over this. It's not worth it. So like that. So that's it. So I'll finish this up. All right, well, that didn't take 20 minutes. The hardest part was cleaning all the little pieces of silicone out of there. The dust buster really didn't work because it sticks. But rubbing alcohol on a paper towel rolled it right up. Most of it stuck to the paper towel, came right out. There's still a couple little pieces around, but it wiped the glass down too, and that's supposed to work well. And I think, maybe this is one of the spots where it was leaking down there. Where's my finger? Where's my finger? All right, I'm just going to do it over this way. Down here, this is the other side of the tank. This is the front side of the tank. This is where water was welling up out of when it all started. So I really don't know where it was coming through. There's still a little bit of alcohol in there. So I'll hit that with another dry paper towel. Now I think it's ready to seal, assuming that sealer's any good. And that stuff, it came in a box of 2. I don't know if I already said that. Box of 2 from Amazon. And it is specific to aquarium use. Unlike the GE that, if you read the MSDS, material data and safety sheets, MSDS, material safety and data sheets. Most of the GE silicones are not intended to be submerged underwater for any length of time. And I know everybody says, well, that's what I always use, and that's fine. You use whatever you want. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to use what I want because I'm comfortable with it. And you should be comfortable with what you do too. Because damn it, there's all kinds of people that profess to know it all. I ain't one of them. I just tell you what I do and let you sort it out for yourselves. That's what makes this hobby so damn much fun. Now, because it's on the bottom, I am not going to waste tape along the edges here. Oh, and let me throw one other little thing in here. What I did when I said about an inch on these things, what I ended up doing was a little more than the width of the razor blade. Stand that up. So that way you can get the razor blade in there and get that right down and get that all cleaned out. But make sure if you leave a little tail here where you snipped it, make sure you get that little tail out because you're going to want to seal up into this one. You're going to want to connect the two dots, as it were, or as it are, depending. So there. So now I'm going to get the silicone or the caulking gun out and see if this stuff's any good. And if it's not, I'm going to put the tank away, set it off to the side, order some of that silicone from Amazon, and then I'll silicone it when the new stuff shows up. We shall see. And I'll use whatever I need to use out of a tube, and I'll toss the rest. This is tube number 2. I already used tube number 1. I'll show you this old 8.5 gallon tank that I got from OfferUp. I think probably came with that one 2 years ago. I kind of did what I'm doing here all the way around, all 4, what is that, all 8 seams, 4 around the bottom, 4 up the sides, and resealed this tank completely with that stuff. And then I sealed the tube, stuck it up on the shelf, and by the time I got back to it, it was rock hard. So just pitch it and buy fresh. Well, success. The silicone is still good. Just run a little up the corner and then pull it down to where I already got there. Stuff stinks, just really sulfury. That's silicone by nature, I guess. And then up the corner. Make sure you make a good connection with the old silicone. And don't forget to release the pressure, otherwise it goes everywhere. That's it all the way around. Now, I don't know if I need to do this or not, but I'm going to. Now, in the corners, I'm pushing in right where the silicone, the new silicone meets the old silicone. Make sure there's silicone up under there. And then I'm using my fingertip just to rub gently, push it in. Ideally, it's going down in. And if I have any low spots, and I think I see one there, I can come back with any excess from on my finger. Rub it in. So a lot of people are saying, you know, I said that already, you should just buy a new one. More effort than it's worth. Oh, man. But I have been at this project. I just finished talking to the neighbor in real time. Time to stop and record and pick up and walking around getting stuff, blah, blah, blah. I don't think I've been at this a half an hour. Now the silicone where I pressed it in is running long. It's smooshed out, running long towards the center of the tank. Don't care. And it's stayed below the black rim. That I kind of care about because it's a better look. Now I'm looking at this here. This silicone doesn't look great on this corner. There's, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. There's a lot of algae in here. I think I'm going to take that out and re-silicone this. Once again, just, and there we go. Dropped it right into the new silicone. This is something I probably should have waited to do after it was dry. Had I realized it, I would have done it right away. Now, I don't want to push through the overlap. So the front piece overlaps the side, the end piece. So going this way, I don't want to push all the way through because I do not want to cut through the side. So I'm going to hold the razor blade flat and make a cut up here under the black lip. And ideally, that'll get me out. So I can push tight against the glass of the front. That should release the the silicone. Yeah, well, live and learn, right? I really should have done this in the beginning, but I just didn't think of it. So now I'm just peeling that all the way down, right down to the bottom. Take the razor blade, point it upwards a little bit, give it a scrape. Try and keep most of the debris out of the silicone that I just applied. Throw all these little remnants away. I got some fresh paper towel and a little of the isopropyl alcohol. This just happens to be 91%. Don't know if that matters or not. And I'm going to try and stay out of the new silicone that I put in down below. Remember, alcohol evaporates really quickly. And I couldn't find the razor blade because I stuck a paper towel right on top of it. I can see a little silicone here that I want to get rid of. The new stuff's a mess too. All right, well, that's that. There. And I'm not gonna bother to tape that. In fact, here I'm gonna push down. And then I overshot down there because I already come up. If you push a lot of times, you get a all-in-one kind of clean and packed. So I will go back after this is set and just trim that up and clean it up a little bit. But that is how hard it is to seal a new tank. And same thing, there's still silicone up in here. So I want to make sure I push some of the new stuff up into it. And then the alcohol takes it off. Soap and water will take it off too. But that's a good start. Get rid of most of it in the trash. And so there we go. So the next step is let this sit and cook for 24 hours. I think that's what it says to cure. And I'm still going to keep this around to make sure I don't need it. I shortened the tip. I don't know if you guys can see this. So I shortened the tip off of this. So I'm just going to put it in backwards. I pushed some silicone through it so it's sealed, and just push that in there for now. That should keep it at least overnight, next couple days. And that's this in a nutshell. And I think we're good to go. So I don't think I have to buy a new tank, and I'd really rather not. I'd rather spend that $50 on something else. I'm sure you all understand that. So we'll pick up where we left off later with refilling the tank. And I'm going to fill it outside to leak test it to make sure it's not going to get funky on me. And then maybe I'll take some vinegar water too and clean up all the hard water deposits around the rim there. There was a bunch of, that's where the sponge filter lives, in that corner. So the mist, the bubbles coming up, left all the hard water deposits here. And they were also on the back of the tank. So I wiped that down with vinegar, and that cleaned that up pretty well. So I'll clean, all that deposit up with some vinegar water, and that should do it. That should do it. And then after a leak test, if it works, we'll put it back on the shelf from whence it came. All right, well, here we are a day later, the next morning. So it's been about 24 hours since I resealed this tank, and it's holding water. And I got to say that it only took me, I don't know, maybe a half an hour. I think I said that already, to clean out the old silicone and to reseal it. Unfortunately, the tube I had, even though it was way outdated, was still good. So now what I've got here, bucket of water, about a gallon of water, about a gallon of hot water, and 2 cups of just regular old white distilled vinegar. And I'm going to try and descale some of, the calcium deposits on the corner there. That was the corner where the sponge filter lives. And so from the misting and the bubbling, it left all the calcium deposits behind. There's a little on the glass too. So I'm going to run that all around, try and clean it up as best I can. I was looking for replacement frames for these, and I found one online. Aquarium does this, an Aquarium tank, and Aquarium doesn't seem to have them. But there was a third party, and they've got sizes, they've got prices. It sounds like it's about $10, but they don't say shipping. So I got to reach out to them, find out how much to ship the damn thing. And I'm not going to wait. I'm going to set this tank up today as soon as I get this cleaned up. It's leak tested. It's been sitting here for, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours now. I'm not going to sit it overnight. Don't need to. It's holding water. So there we go. It was not holding water when this whole fiasco started. All right, well, I'll spend a little time with it. It's not perfect. You can still see some of the calcium deposits. I took a minute and cleaned up that one corner that I resealed, the whole corner top to bottom, because it looked bad. The silicone was loose and there was algae behind it, so I cleaned that out and ran a bead of silicone up there. It doesn't stick out as far as the factory silicone, but it looks okay. So now I'm going to drain it, rinse it, and bring it back in and start setting this puppy back up and get everybody back in their home. This was the betta tank, if you recall. Well, I got it back in, and I put the substrate that I had in there. It's a little bit left over, sand, gravel, volcanic gravel, and I rinsed it a little bit, and I didn't rinse it really well because when I was putting it out, it stunk a little bit. So I'm going to fill this, and then I put a bunch of pool sand, about an inch and a half pool sand over the top. So I'm going to fill this and drain it and fill it and drain it maybe a couple times. And then I'm going to get some of the water out of the tank where the bettas are and put that in the tank and start planting these plants back in this tank. Sponge filter will go in this corner where it came from. So I got it front to back like I should, because there's the thermometer. I'll rinse the sides off. And we shall see what we shall see. Hopefully it's good to go. Seemed like it. I had it out there leak testing for about an hour, hour and a half, and nothing came out of the around the bottom. And I think that's where the culprit was, around the bottom, because when I got out here, if you recall, it was bubbling out of the rim here and running down here and actually running under the lip and going into the guppy tank down there. So that wasn't good. I think it was actually going in both those tanks. Regardless, here we are. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and fill and unfill. Is that right? Fill and drain this a couple times, and we'll catch you up. All right. Yeah, I thought I hit the record button. I guess I didn't. But you know what? Look at this cryptocorin. I wanted to share this. This came out of the tank. Look at the size of this puppy. All right. And what I wanted to share is, look at that. That's probably a stolen, because it's green, so it's probably been running close to the light, so it's photosynthesizing, that's why. But everywhere there are roots coming out along this stolon. And I'm saying stolon, not a rhizome. Rhizomes tend to travel under the surface. Stolon's right at or just slightly below the surface. It's a modified stem. All right. But look at the roots. And that means everywhere there's roots, that's a node. So that all has potential to send up new shoots. And I don't know if I can get any closer on this. Let me zoom and see what the iPhone zoom does. Maybe. So right there, that looks like a little bud. If I can get that little piece of root out of the way or whatever it is, there looks like there is a little bud right there along the stem. So I'm expecting many more. This thing has traveled all over this tank, and I'm hoping it'll continue to do so. Very, very cool plant. I do like crypts. So I think mostly I had some a couple of Echinodoros, or maybe they've changed the species name in here. I may or may not put them back. I think I might go just crypts. I've got a little Sagittarius subulata. Maybe just put that in the foreground somewhere. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. All right, well, I got everybody out of here except for the two Plecosauruses. Everybody's floating in a couple measuring cups here. The bettas, the Amano shrimp. I'll come back for the Plecos. And yesterday when I was cleaning all this up, there were two cories in here. And there's one now. It's floating over in the 75. It's a bronze cory. It's going in with its mates. When I was cleaning out the bucket of gravel this morning, I found the corpse of the other one. It got caught up in all the muck, and I did not see it. And I feel like shit about that. I hate killing fish accidentally. But they're going to float for 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to put a little dechlor in right now. I've got some API stress coat out here. I'll put that in. I'll also put a little bit of the API quick start in here. And then let me show you something that I learned from Jose at Joy of Fish Keeping. You see back there, those crypts came out a little shallow. The sand washed away. They popped up, whatever. So I've got a cupful of sand. So he was using a drinking water bottle. I don't happen to have one handy, but I'm just going to fill this cup with water over the sand here. I'll settle it right down in there and just pour. And I'll pour it until I feel like I got enough sand covering the base of that crypt. So that's a good way to catch up. Now let me untuck that leaf that's getting covered. But there. So I'm pretty good with that. And I could cover these stolons a little bit. A little extra sand in here is not going to hurt anything. And I can come back and put more. But I just wanted to show you how that works if you didn't already know that. But again, I know you're all pretty smart people. You already knew that. So I'm preaching to the choir. Oh, and look, one of the Amano shrimp got out. Ha! It's going for a walk. So I wanted to let these guys float for a little bit because the temperature variant's a little bit different. The water that I'd put in here out of the garden hose, even though I'd let it run for a while, was coming out warmer than what was in the 20 gallon. And most all this water, well, just about the entire 20, there's still some left. But most all that water is back in here. There was a little bit that I'd added from the tap. So, but the rest of it is all the water that they're suited to. And that sponge filter came from this tank, went in the 20-gallon tank with them, and came back out. And that was just yesterday. So it's still all full of that beneficial bacteria. But I'm going to add a little bit of the quick start, and I am going to add the dechlorinator. So I put 30 mils of quick start. It says 10 mils per 10 gallons. So this 29-gallon, 30-gallon, plus there was gravel and sand and stuff that takes up volume. But, I think quick start is a little bit like chicken soup. It couldn't hurt. And then I put 15 mils of stress coat. It says, let's say 5 mils per 10 gallons. Is that right? So, yeah, 30 gallons, so 15 mils. So I'm going to pour these guys out. I just shot the temperature. They seem okie doke. So we're going to get them all back into their home. I can't wait for this tank to, I don't know if that's going to come out there. It's got to come out the end. It's a really tight fit with these Home Despot shelves. Don't have a lot of room on top here. I've got another stack of tanks down low and got about the same amount of room there. So here we go. I really like the way this tank was growing in. And God, I hated to have to take it all apart, but you got to do what you got to do. And when it's dumping water all over the floor, you got to do it. So I just sort of put it back. I'm no aquascaper, not by any stretch. You can see that. I'm going to move Groot around. This is where all the toys in here started, was with baby Groot. He came from my granddaughter in Texas Christmas before last. And then last Christmas, the whole damn family back there in Texas sent me dead fish, tell no tales. And then my wife bought me this cool little pot that I got to put back in here. Oh, I hate to now. It's got snails on it. There are no snails in this tank. So let me look. All of a sudden, they just glommed all over this thing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see any. They were ram's horns. It's not the worst thing that can happen. So this little flat terracotta pot that can sit probably right back here. I know it's all lined up too much. It's all too even. It looks like, boo-boo. So we'll let that sit there. Maybe I'll put it on, I don't know. We got the Easter Island SpongeBob SquarePants Easter Island head because Jose had one. We were looking at his tanks one night, and I thought, I've got to have one of those because it's just silly enough. And we got all the crypts in here. And we've got the fern back in here. And we've got the Sagittarius subulata back in here. And I've got a Java fern. I keep trying to get it to just anchor. This is an orchid pot, so it's got the holes in it, you know. And I keep trying to get the Java fern to anchor in there. Maybe someday it will, just like make it, you know, be like a chia pot. I want to put cories in here, and I knew if I put that bronze cory, I'd never get it back out with all the stuff in here. They're fast. So now it's open for a different species of cories, and I just got to go find a different species of cories. I know I saw some that Aquahuna has, and I also have to go check out Brandon over at Coachella Valley Aquatics and see what he's got. And like that, that's kind of the way this whole thing's going. And I think pretty much got it now. So hopefully everybody tolerates the transplant from tank to tank and back again. And the betters are just, they're fun. They're just super curious. They are checking out their new homestead. They're going, what the hell happened here? But it seems like it's okay. I like the one down there staring into the eye of, I've got to come up with a name for Easter Island head there. You know, so they're cool. And then the Amanos, you know, they cruise. I didn't realize I had so many Amanos. I bought 11. I don't remember. I bought 11 or 12, and I know I found a couple of them in the tank behind. They just crawled over. There was a pothos bridge and came back. I guess. I know I picked up, maybe I picked up one or two and it came back. There might still be one in that other tank. And this one's really buried. And I know I got kind of scolded by somebody once. You really need to try and save that. Yeah, it's like, I'll give it a shot one of these days, but it's going to take some time to get the situation right, because they're not like Neocaridina, where they just pop out, you know, live fry or fry shrimplets, whatever they are. Shrimpies, little baby shrimpies. Yeah. And they don't do that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll work it out. They need to drop their eggs in fresh water, and then the egg, or zoos, I guess. And the zoos, these are like little, almost like plankton-like, and they'll travel down to salt water or brackish water and go through their metamorphosis and then come back up to fresh water. So there's a process. I got to figure that out. So anyway, so if you got anything out of this, like a good laugh, you know, because this was kind of a chuckle, I suppose. If you learned anything out of it, got any great ideas, any harebrained ideas, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I am just, I don't know what, about 81 subs away from the 1,000 mark. And, you know, it'd be nice to get there at some point. And as always, I appreciate y'all stopping by and checking it out, and your comments and shares if you do. That's great too. And let me know what you think about this mess. And like I always say at the end of all these, thanks for looking.